Who's first, Joe?
Yep, Joe's first. Good to see everybody. We got Joe Theismann joining us momentarily. One of my favorite people I've ever met in football is Joe Theismann, man. One of my favorite people. Are we live? Yes, we are. There we go. We're starting to fill up. I always love to see who's the first in the chat. Who's the first one in there? I'm not seeing the chat, Jason. Are we good? Show up on. Yeah, we go. Michael Daniels, you win. All right. All right. Okay, we got a big show today. Joe Theismann, Kevin Bolinger from Fox 5, Lee Sterling, as Big D knows, 2-1 last week. Big D is the man who keeps everybody in line. He's an assistant to the Bricktator, a trusted friend.
Q Myers, your boy Q. Join me for Unnecessary Roughness at Silver Sevens, where they love locals with great food and drink specials, plus all the
we have Joe.
Action. Yeah. Don't miss every Monday with me live at Silver Sevens, starting at 2 p.m. P.S. First 20 listeners, you get your first beer.
Raider Nation has found its new home for daily Raiders content. This is Raider Nation Radio 920 AM, part of the Las Vegas Sports Network, KRLB.
Can put him up.
Yes. This is Max Crosby, the Las Vegas Raiders, and you're listening to JT the Brick on Raider Nation Radio.
It's the JT the Brick Show. If you're in the relentless pursuit of finding the competitive edge in everything you're doing, you gotta be on 100%. I expect to win every time I come to the field. I don't care what we're doing. Every drill, everything we do, I'm expecting to win. Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years. This is gonna be a battle. This is gonna be physical. This is gonna be old school football. Yes, sir. That's a great man. One say, just win, baby. And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, and we are off to the races today. Raider Nation Radio, live on YouTube, on the stream, on the Raiders mobile app, as the Raiders are set tomorrow to travel to D.C. to take on the Commanders. And joining us, one of the greatest players in the history of the Commanders, my longtime friend Joe Theismann joins us. Joe, thanks for doing this. How are you, my friend?
You're welcome, JT. Thanks for giving me a chance to kick everything off today.
I really appreciate that, and I know you're coming to Vegas, and we're excited about that. Let's get into this game and this rivalry. Jaden Daniels will find out if he's going to play when they allow him to play or not heading into the weekend, but seems like the Commanders are on a really great path with one of the great young quarterbacks we've seen come into this league in quite some time.
They really are. I mean, he had it out. For 2 years in a row is so important. We've seen other young quarterbacks in this league have one coordinator, then another coordinator, and another coordinator, and it's hard to learn when you're doing that all the time around somebody. But I think they've added some pieces this year, Larry Tunsil, Deebo Samuel. I think that this football team is in a position to be able to do some good stuff. Obviously, it didn't show well against Green Bay, but they've had 10 days off to get ready for the Raiders.
Joe, have you been in this scenario before where you're banged up, but you can play, but the organization says maybe we sit you out a week so we don't hinder your opportunity not to play weeks from down the road? I mean, the Raiders played Brock Bowers on Monday night. It didn't help. They didn't win, but he played and he wasn't at 100%. With Jaden, he's so valuable after going to the NFC Championship game. I got to think this is a big decision for Dan Quinn.
It is a big decision, but, it's funny. When I played, Jake, you had to play.
Yeah.
If the other guy got in there and showed well, you might lose your job. Today, the economics really don't allow that as much. And in Jaden's case, obviously, he's the future of the franchise. There's absolutely no question. You don't want to put him in harm's way. And I guarantee you, they'll go through thorough testing for him. The other thing is how much will Cliff ask him to run the football? Obviously, when he scrambles and, he knows how to protect himself, he knows how to get out of bounds and get down. But then again, all of a sudden that athlete takes over and you say, if we sit you, we're not doing it because we don't believe in you. We're doing it to protect you from yourself. And so it'll be an interesting decision. But Marcus, he's been there a while. He's played some good football for this team a year ago. And, if he has to play, I think they feel very comfortable with him.
Joe Theismann is our guest. Joe, your perspective of the Raiders now with Pete Carroll. It started with John Gruden on the move to Vegas, and it went to Rich Bisaccia, then Josh McDaniels. That didn't work. Antonio Pierce got the team to win a little bit, so he went from interim coach to head coach. Raiders lost 10 in a row, but Pete Carroll's different. Next level, a Super Bowl champ, what he did at USC. I'm sure you go back with Pete over the years. What do you think of him now at the helm of the Raiders?
I think, first of all, happy birthday, Pete, at 74, doing a great job. I really think he's going to build what he wants. And I hope they give him some time. I know Tom's there and, is an astute football mind just besides playing the position of quarterback. And when you look at the football team with Genti, I believe you really have got a foundational running back. He's going to learn and get better and better. Your wide receiving core is solid. Your tight ends are excellent. And Geno proved in Seattle just how good he could be. And, Pete's familiar with him. So it's one thing to bring guys in that you think are good football players. There's others that you bring in that they are. And I think that Pete's going to build that kind of character that they had in Seattle. And I really think the focus is going to be going forward is how can we build our secondary? How can we, because everybody's throwing the ball around today. So how can we build the defense and make that a focal point? We're good on offense. We need to be better on defense.
Joe Theismann, as we wrap it up, Geno Smith has put up some really nice numbers the last couple of years, won a lot of big games. He's a play action quarterback. You were a brilliant quarterback who was great at play action. So the Raiders are trying to establish the run with Genti, who has big upside. They haven't been able to in the first couple of weeks. How does the running game being slowed down halt what a play action quarterback can do, Joe?
Well, you still can't stop trying. You need to be, if you gain 2 yards, that's sufficient. The other, defenses have to realize you're going to run the football. And, he'll pop one here, pop one there, but it isn't feast and famine. You're not going to feature it all the time. It has to be a nice blend. I thought Geno played pretty good, except for a couple decisions he made with the ball in his hands. I mean, and that happens in the course of a game. JT, it's almost got to a point where we watch quarterbacks play today, and we expect Patrick Mahomes to complete every pass. We expect Justin Herbert to complete every pass, or Josh Allen, or whoever it might be. And that's not the way the game is. It has ebbs and flows to it. And I think the Raiders have to find what are their ebbs and what are their flows. How does this team look under pressure? What does it look like in a 2-minute drill? Who are the guys that need to be on the field in certain situations? I think Pete's still in a learning process because, remember, you had no way to evaluate them in preseason because preseason doesn't exist for starters.
Yeah, it's a great point. Joe, as we wrap this up, the similarities between the Raiders and the Commanders, former Redskins here, when it comes to having global fan bases. Look at what Mark Davis has done by bringing the team here. They were 31st in revenue and net worth overall. Now I believe they're in the top 5, approaching $10 billion because you do a lot of business in Las Vegas, sports and entertainment capital right now. And it looks like the Commanders are on the right track, but it's been a while with the stadium issues, new ownership, but still a massive fan base. How excited are the Commander fans going forward with this ownership group that and the future of the stadium, what they're going to do in and around the district?
Extremely excited, JT. Last year just gave them a great shot in the arm. It gave everybody more than just hope. For years, they've started, you'll win 2, win 3, then all of a sudden you're 3-3, and then the bottom falls out. This is a franchise that I think this is a very challenging year because the schedule is more difficult. The teams we're playing are more difficult. You get a run at the end of the year where you've got the entire NFC East that you're playing. So, and they have to travel on the road. They go to Madrid, which is a game I'm going to wind up going to. But the excitement in the city is absolutely incredible. I think this game against the Raiders is huge, especially coming off the way they played against the Packers 10 days ago.
So you're a part of that really big game out there, Commanders versus Dolphins in Spain. And as we wrap this up, just tell us what you're doing, Joe, because I've known for decades when you come and speak throughout your career in Vegas, there are monster crowds at the convention and private companies that use your services. What's the next step for you with everything you're doing now, especially with this upcoming trip?
Well, I'm continuing to do speeches. I'm in Rochester right now getting ready to do one for East House. It's a facility to help treat mental health and addictions. It's a fundraiser, and then I just so many different opportunities come up to learn about different companies, to learn about different situations in life. And the thing that I really try and stress to people, JT, is that look, you're going to go through trials and tribulations, but you can't ever throw in the towel. You can't ever say it's over. You have to keep battling every day. I think the single most important thing anybody can possess is mental toughness. And you learn that when you go through some difficult times, especially in the world that I came out of in football. But you just have to fight through it. You have to find ways to get it done. You have to find hope in all those things you do. And that's sort of the way I approach life. And I love doing the speeches. I love talking to people. I love learning about different organizations.
Thanks, Joe. I'll see you tomorrow. Really appreciate you doing this Commanders Raider Week. Thanks so much.
You bet, JT. Thank you.
All right. The great Joe Theismann. Really cool. When you look at what we do, not what I do, what we do, and Clay's with me today, my son's here. You got to go behind enemy lines to talk about the game. Who better than Joe Theismann? So check that box. We start off the show with Joe Theismann. Now, real quick story about Joe. When the American Century, that's the famous golf tournament up in Tahoe, I was the first guy ever to do my show there. I was with a couple other radio stations, but they gave me the exclusive at night because my show was on at night in one of the casinos. And it was the most fascinating thing I've ever done for a remote. So I'd go up there, and during the day, I'd be on the golf course with a microphone. But at night, I'd get to the studio, and I'd do my national show, and Joe would come down, and he'd sit with me for 10 minutes. And we built a really big bond. This is over 10 years. And Joe was always competitive early in that tournament, trying to win it. So Joe would go out the first day all lathered up to try to win it, shoot his best round. But some of the best celebrity golf players in the world were there. And then everybody would come back. And that's when Charles Barkley Barkley would come in and he'd say, "What time do you need me?" And I'd say, "Whatever. After you take a shower, come down whenever." Barkley would come to the lobby where I was doing the show. And it was in a lounge. There was probably 200-300 people watching the show. And Barkley would come in. And the next thing you know, there'd be 600-700 people on the outskirts of the lounge. And we'd go to commercial, and I'd go, "Charles, thanks." He goes, "No, I'm going to stay for the hour." And then Barkley would tell everybody, "Raise your hand if you want a beer and a shot." And 400 people would raise their hand, and Barkley would buy everybody in the room a beer and a shot. And that went on for like 6 or 7 years. And then one time, Charles would take me to the blackjack tables. And one day, on my kids, one of them sitting right next to me, Barkley brings me to the blackjack table. It's in the VIP room, and Michael Jordan's playing. And next to Michael Jordan was Jerry Rice, Oscar De La Hoya, Rush Limbaugh. And I'm going, this is the craziest group of people I've ever seen. And going back to Joe, we built that friendship. And now my son, who's working alongside a group that works with Joe, my son booked that interview, and he calls him Uncle Joe. So thanks to Joe Theismann, one of the great quarterbacks. He's one of the only quarterbacks, I believe, if not the only quarterback, not in the Hall of Fame for a Super Bowl MVP and an MVP. So Joe had a brilliant career. We all know that Lawrence Taylor broke his leg, and he came back from that. That kind of ended his career, but then he became a spokesman. And, Joe was great on television, right? Monday Night Football, all the years he did that, the great games with Mike Patrick. So nice to call Joe Theismann a friend as we get it going. Nice, comfortable start, Clay, to the show. Nice, comfortable start.
I love how he wished Pete Carroll a happy birthday because Joe just had a birthday last week where he turned 76.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
76.
Yes.
Wow. All right. Good to have Clay today. Here's what we're going to do. Let's get the phones going. Let's get some fans going here. I feel like I've been doing a lot of heavy lifting. I went to the Raiders this morning, hosted Raiders Rundown. That airs Saturday night on ABC. That airs. We finished that show. I hosted Raiders Roundtable today with Eric Allen the other day. I already interviewed Pete Carroll. We got the Pete Carroll interview done, the one-on-one I get to do. I think we've had a good week here. Now we have to get the vibe of Raider Nation going to beat the Commanders. The number is 702-365-9200. The monologue's brought to you by Golden Entertainment. They own the Strat, and they own over 70 locations. here in the Valley. So if you're thinking of going out and going to have a good time, it's definitely PT's, where you can watch college football, pro football, and the Golden Knights, and everybody coming back here. So with all the notes I have for today from my meeting over there, I'm going to riff a little bit on what I think the Raiders need to do to win this game. Here's what the Raiders have to do to win this game. Number one, we don't know who the quarterback's going to be on the other team. Is Jaden Daniels going to play or Marcus Mariota? Pete Carroll made it clear they're preparing for Jaden Daniels. You have to. He's one of the best young arms in all of football. So with that being said, you got to prepare for Jaden. If he doesn't play, Marcus Mariota knows the Raiders. He played for the Raiders, and he is a very good backup quarterback. Why? He's a leader. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's the guy who's won big games, very similar to Geno Smith, right? Geno didn't win the Heisman, but Geno played the last couple of years and won a lot of big games. Marcus Mariota can play. He can handle the playbook. He can run. He can throw it, and he's smart. He knows what the Raiders' defense is going to look like under Patrick Graham and Pete Carroll. So the Raiders have got to be great in this game because they weren't great in the last game. So I would prepare for Jaden Daniels in the hopes that you got to corral him in the pocket. Now, Max Crosby has to have a breakout game. Max has played really well in the first two games, but he's not on SportsCenter because he hasn't had his signature sack yet. He hasn't had like that explosive signature play yet, but he's been all over it. He's a game wrecker. This has got to be a big Max game. It has to be. If we, the Raider Nation, are going to get out of D.C. with a win, Max Crosby's got to be standing at the goal line, pointing to the upper deck of Raider Nation after a sack that closed out this game. I truly believe that. And I believe Max is up for the challenge. Max is salty right now. He's ready to go. Now, on offense, we got to find our identity in this game. We have to find some type of identity because I don't believe the Raider offensive line has anything close to an identity yet. So we were told about this. We were told it's going to take time. It's going to take time to put this offensive line together. John Spytek and Pete Carroll got hired here for years. They didn't get hired here for the first two games. It's my job to remind you that in the Raider Nation. You want to win every game. You want to go undefeated. It ain't happening. So they have to have a plan. Pete Carroll calls it the program. He's like a college coach. I sit down next to him. He's like, our program does this and that. Our program wants to teach that. They are building a program. The program's going to take some time with the offensive line. It's a work in progress. Okay, it is. The question to you in the Raider Nation is, are you satisfied with the personnel on the offensive line for the Raiders going forward? I am. Because I dip the show in reality. Art Shell and Gene Upshaw ain't walking through that door. We don't have a Jim Otto. So we got to make the best of what we have. That's the key that Raider fans should be able to understand. Now, Jordan Meredith at center, if he's not snapping the ball perfectly, I'm a Jackson Powers Johnson center fan. But they want to move him to guard and keep him there. He's in concussion protocol. He had the red jersey on yesterday. We'll get an update on that from Kevin Bolinger later in the show. This offensive line, as Lincoln Kennedy says, needs to have an identity, and it has to happen in the nation's capital. Okay? I need someone on this team, and here's my really important point. And if you want to clip it and take it, do it. Someone on this offense, on the offensive line, better show me some body language in this game. What is body language? That's putting your arm in the air after a touchdown. That's being on the sideline with high fives. That's walking up and down the sideline before the game the way Lincoln Kennedy used to. Lincoln Kennedy, it was a tradition before an Oakland home game. When the other team was getting ready for the anthem, Lincoln Kennedy would pace 10 yards. He'd step on the field, not the sideline, and he'd pace 10 yards, and the other team looked at that mountain of a man and said, oh boy, Lincoln Kennedy's worked up. Lincoln Kennedy's ready to go. I haven't seen that yet. I like vocal leaders. I'm very critical of my New York Yankees because Aaron Judge, who's one of the best players in baseball, if he's not number one, he's number two. Aaron Judge is not a vocal leader. He doesn't break water coolers. He doesn't go in front of the reporters and says anything that's important. I need someone on this offensive line. If it's not going to be Colt Miller and maybe it's JPJ, someone's got to speak up now and prove that they're a leader. I need to see body language. I need to see leadership. I need to see someone who's a little bit more pissed off than I've seen at OTAs. I called the games play-by-play in the preseason. I want to see someone turn into a badass. I want to see a Raider offensive lineman become a badass, because I knew John Vella, who just passed away, with his big mustache. And when he came out there, he wasn't the best offensive lineman on the Raiders. By a long shot, he was a great player, but he wasn't shelling up Shaw and Otto. But you know what he was? He was a leader. Where is the leadership on this offensive line? Who is the leader? I know Colt Miller's the best player. Who's the leader? Show me. Show me in the nation's capital. And then finally, Geno. It's a really important game for Geno in the Raider Nation, not in the big picture of his life. Geno's going to play a lot more football, but the Raider fans want to see a bounce back. I was on 106.7 in D.C. this morning on their big radio show. A couple people heard it. Thanks for letting me know. A couple people tweeted at me that they were Raider fans and they heard it. And they asked me about, Brock Bowers and this and that. And I explained to them that this is a bounce back game. And they said, what does that mean? Well, when a pitcher shows up for a baseball game and he gets bombed in the first inning and they take him out of the game, his next start's going to be 5 days later. In his next start, that pitcher could throw a no-hitter, pitch through the 8th inning, strike out 12 because he's the ace. He's the ace. He had a bad outing. Geno's our ace. He had a bad game. It was a really bad performance by Geno Smith. He got sacked on 4th down, and he threw the ball out of bounds on 4th down, which I don't like. But I'm sure he's going to bounce back. Well, Raider fans want him to bounce back today. There's no game today. Geno told us, and at the press conference yesterday, that he wishes the game, he's happy they're on a short week. Wow, what a statement from Geno. A lot of guys would complain, we're on a short week. We don't have a lot of tough time. We got to travel. Geno says, I wish the game was today. I want to put it behind us. He wants to put his bad performance behind us. Why aren't Raider fans loading up this channel's phone numbers, getting behind their quarterback, who's been nothing but a great human being, a great leader, a proud Raider? Why do we have Raider fans doubting him after week 2? Because it was Monday Night Football. You were at the game. You were paying all that money for tickets. You got there early, and Geno put up a dud. That's why you're upset. I get it. But you can still get behind Geno. You can still say Geno's going to be okay. Geno's going to bounce back. And if he doesn't, we got a sports talk show to figure that out. That'll be our Monday show. If he doesn't play well, I hope he plays well. So the Raiders need to win this game. Is it a must-win? No. No, but you know what? If the Raiders don't win this game, oh boy, the Bears game becomes 1-3 or 2-2. Raiders win this game, the Bears game could be 3-1. One of the best records in football will be 3-1. But they got to go on a short week to a trip. That's pretty tough. They're a good team. But we got the coach to do it. We got the game plan. Guys will be ready to play. But it's a lot. And the scoundrels who put the schedule together, the scoundrels, they put the Raiders on a short week back east, and they let the Commanders play Thursday night. They were home in their own bed Thursday night at like 2 a.m. And they're not going to play till they play at home on Sunday. They made us play Monday night, and they're making us get on a plane Friday. Who put that schedule together? Excuse me. You don't think there was someone in that boardroom? They have all those laptop computers. It's very complicated putting a schedule together. You have to have common opponents, your division. So this year, the Raiders are playing the NFC East, right? Follow me here. So we have the Giants here. We have the Giants here, and we have the Cowboys here. We're traveling to the nation's capital to play the Commanders and the world champion Eagles. Well, wouldn't it have been nice if they gave us the Giants on the road later in the year, but they gave us the Commanders at home? Why didn't we get the Commanders at home on a short week? Because the scoundrels do that to the Raiders. I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy, but I learned the schedule through Bruce Allen and John Gruden back in the day. They taught me the inner workings of a schedule. This has an alert all over it. We got no friends in that schedule office with this one, baby. So this should be the motivation for the Raiders to go in and put it in the face of the league office for scheduling this game. 702-365-9200. Get on the phones today. I'm calling you out today on the phones in week 3. I'm calling you out. I demand greatness, and I want to see some greatness. Bob in Vegas on 920. Hello, Bob. Thanks for waiting.
You're welcome, man. Thank you. You hit it right on the head, the offensive line. I was seeing in a stat the other day where the Raiders are last in the league. They have more plays that have stopped at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage than any other team in the NFL. And that's the offensive line. And Chip's play calling. You see that 3rd down and 2 where he's in the shotgun and he hands it to Gentry 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he has no chance. I don't know. The offensive line, I think the play calling, Gino's going to be fine. I think we're going to be fine. We got to straighten up that offensive line now.
Yeah, and you're right about you're about. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. You're right about 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. If you're going to hand it off under center, not in the shotgun, and don't start 8 yards deep. That is a pet peeve of mine. If you were in a classroom and the test was, what are JT's top 3 pet peeves? Number 1 is the clock. By far, number 1's the clock. Are you running the game at a pace that if you're losing, you're paying attention to the clock? Big pet peeve of mine. Number 2 is, what do I always say? Don't hand it off into the pile. Just don't run it up the middle. We don't have the personnel to do that now. We have Jordan Meredith, who never played center, who's learning the position. We don't have an advantage running the ball up the middle yet. Maybe we do down the road. And then finally, my ultimate, what's my number 1? JT's, we should do this for a beer or a Tito's. We're brought to you by Tito's, my go-to. I'll buy you a Tito's if you know my all-time pet peeve. What is it? Come on. It's easy. Hit Kelsey at the line of scrimmage. That's my number 1 all time. Don't give Kelsey Clay a free release. Don't give him a free release. And we do it again and again and again and again and again. Where Kelsey lines up, nobody's in front of him. He looks at Mahomes. Mahomes looks at him. He goes 4 yards. Mahomes hits him. He goes another 11. And that's my pet peeve.
They've never put a body on him.
They never do. No, not they. Former regimes. We have Pete Carroll now. Remember, we have Pete Carroll now. Pete Carroll's going to change that. We're going to guard Kelsey. We're going to guard him this time because someone's going to hear my voice that week that we got to guard Kelsey. All right, let's keep it going here. We got a good show lined up. Lee Sterling is going to pick 3 games for us. So we're going to have Lee Sterling coming up here, and he's going to give you 3 games for free. He's 2-1 the last 2 weeks, so he's making money. We have him on for that reason. Kevin Bolinger from Vox 5. Clay just reminded me that Patrick Graham and Chip Kelly are speaking. I want to take Chip Kelly. I want to hear what Chip says because that offensive game plan and Gino did not do well. So we'll see what happens there. We'll get into that coming up next. So jump on in right now, 702-365-9200. And our monologue was also brought to you by our great friends at Click Hospitality. They have some of the greatest lounges you've ever been to, including 8 Cigar Lounge, Bel Air, Gatsby's. Incredible, a new way to step up your game when it comes to watching football. Head on out to Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football at Bel Air at Durango. Nice. Smooth. Yeah, when I just go like that, that'll be like go to break. Yeah, and then
you were going to do the monologue, but I wasn't.
Yeah, I like to take it to about 20.
Okay, cool.
I like to eat off more than I can chew and then backtrack it.
All right, cool.
Yep. Joe Theismann was great.
You still want to take calls?
Oh, yeah. Every call. I want every call, man. Good afternoon. What's up with you?
How's it going to go? What would you like to talk about?
Colin Hill.
Okay.
Good.
You're injured. Thursday night, Mike McDaniel getting fired today?
That's tonight, yeah.
Fired tonight.
Thursday night football, Dolphins, Bills. You know, I think the Dolphins should show up. Ooh, Big D says Bishop Gorman, Mater Day, Friday night. Is that here?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's here. But
Is that in Vegas or is that up north or south? That's the LA. If Bishop Gorman wins that game, we've never beat him. If Bishop Gorman wins that game, they win the national championship because after that game, we play nobody. Because my kids went there, we play nobody. And we play a national schedule, which is packed early. That's the big boy in Vegas. If we win that game, they will engrave national champs. But we should go to that game. Wow. I might go to that game. Wow, that's a big one, man.
And Mater Day lost, so Norman's won.
Right.
So they just got to win.
Thank you.
Want to call Lee or is he calling?
He's gonna be at 12:45, so we're gonna break before Lee. How are we doing in the chat? If Bosco runs the table, they'll be number one. You think so?
Just depends. They play one. They play.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Bosco. So Bosco beat Mater Day.
I got the later part.
Or it might have been like Corona.
Yeah.
I think it was Corona.
Yeah. Good to hear from you, man. Where are you calling from? All right. Where would you like to come from?
Yeah, they lost to Corona.
California's #1 casino just got better. Yamava Resort and Casino in San Manuel is now the only AAA 5-diamond rated casino hotel in the country. Become a Club Serrano member today and enjoy perks and exclusive rewards.
Oh, I like
VIP
it.
at another
Yeah.
casino, trade up and take advantage of the tier and offer match program at Yamava
Okay,
Resort
I'll
and
put you
Casino.
number 2.
Voted #1
Yeah,
casino
I think
outside of
we're coming
Vegas.
back to it. You a second time.
You win. Details at Yamava.
Clay, who's number 2?
Dolph Wayne Raider
Dolph Wayne.
You don't just need a
from
lawyer,
Tampa,
you
Florida.
need a partner
Yeah.
who understands what you're going through. At Battleborn, our
Thank
attorneys
you.
don't just
It's
handle
not the
your
same
case.
old Raider.
We walk
Yeah.
beside you every step of the way.
All right, we
Meet
come
with you
back
personally
in
from
40
day
seconds.
one. We actually answer your calls, and we keep you informed. Don't settle for a law firm that ignores your calls and makes you feel like a burden. Choose Battleborn Injury Lawyers. Call 766-1400 for a free consultation. That's 766.
Gino's got to play well, man. That's it. I know it. You know, Gino played so poorly that he has to play well. If he didn't play that bad, he wouldn't have to play that great. I just want him to win the game. I just want him to win.
Right from the beginning, it looked off.
It looked tremendously off.
Here we go.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome back.
Turn it up, Clay. Woo! Yeah! 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 Pull the trigger! Let's go! All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm excited to be here today. I love going to the Raider facility in the morning. I drove from the mean streets of Summerlin to deep Henderson, walked into the TV studio. We knocked out Raiders Rundown, which airs every Saturday. It's kind of a show that puts together a lot of pieces of content. My interview with Pete Carroll, which I love exclusively hosting that. Amber Theo Harris will have a sit down with Jeremy Chin. And then Baron Davis. Let me get this out there. Our teammate, Baron Davis, who's now on Dancing with the Stars. I would know that for 2 reasons. My wife watches Dancing with the Stars, and Baron Davis is my teammate, and he sits down with Max Crosby on Talk of the Nation. I don't care how you spin this. I don't know of a team in the NFL that puts out better content than the Raiders. Not every coach does a coach's show. Most of them don't. Mike Vrabel does. A couple of them do. But we don't have a show. No other team in the NFL has a show with a former NBA All-Star called Talk of the Nation. We fly in Amber Theo Harris, Eric Allen, and James Jones to do our Sunday show. Which NFL team does that? I don't think I know. So we got a lot of stuff that we put out there, man, all for your consumption. Robert in Portland on the adjustments that Chip Kelly must make. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, I think what happened last week was Harbaugh wasn't going to let them run, and then they got out of the run too early because, they just sort of panicked. But I think this week Chip's going to do it a little differently. He has Lattimore on the opposing side. Lattimore can't cover anymore. I think what he's going to do is I'm not going to say he's going to use a spread formation, but he's going to put three guys on one side. He did a little of that when they fell way behind, and we saw him move the ball. Unfortunately, they didn't get touchdowns, but I think that's what they need to do, JT, because it just takes one or two plays to open up the defensive side to have to respect, whatever formation that you're going to put yourself into. Because if you watch the game over and over, they didn't really get too exotic. Did you notice that?
No, I did.
They never really did. And I think he needs to do a little of that because Washington doesn't have the secondary that the Chargers had. And also, I think that Chin's going to have a few things that he's going to donate to the cause. And I think Chin's going to have a good game. I just worry about Polamalu. He had a horrible game, and, we just need him to play a lot better.
Yeah, the good phone call. Appreciate it, Robert, as always. Thanks for checking in. I thought the Raiders played really tight after the opening interception. That first interception on the deflected ball, I think right after that, the Raiders never got in a groove. They were never really themselves. So Chip, I don't think, dialed up his best game play calling because Geno wasn't executing well. No matter what Chip was going to draw up, Geno's still the decision maker. It's not Chip Kelly's fault that Geno took a fourth down sack. It's not Chip's fault that Geno threw the ball out of bounds on fourth down. But Chip's got to figure out a way. He's getting paid $6 million a year, which is the most of any coordinator. And I respect the hell out of Chip, he's got to figure out a way to get Gentry going. The way I would do it is I'd run him on the outside. I wouldn't run him in the inside. Our guys aren't opening up any holes. If we pitch it out to Gentry and he goes to the right or the left and he's got a little space to cut back, like a Barry Sanders play, I think he could make people miss. But if we just want to hand it off into the pile thinking that that's going to be the way to get him going, good luck. I hope it works. Dolph Wayne Raider, kind enough to call us from Tampa. What's happening?
Hey, what's good, JT? I just wanted to call in and talk about, because growing up, I hear a lot of things saying like same old Raiders. And I think we all kind of know what that means. But I think things are starting to change. That Monday night game, we didn't lose too bad. We could have, same old Raiders would have got lost by like 37-9 or 6. These next two games are really going to show us if they are the same old Raiders. Might have a backup quarterback. We all know how that is. And then the Bears possibly being 0-3, facing them, we normally lose against teams that don't have a win.
I mean, look, I'm not going to look ahead to the Bears too far, but we got to find a way to win this game coming up here. And if the Raiders don't win this game, I think you'd agree, there's a lot of pressure to avoid going 1-3. 1-3 is a really bad start for a team that I think is much better than last year. So if they end up losing, they're coming home to Allegiant to get to 2-2, and that's going to be almost a must-win if you want to talk about the playoffs and winning 9-10 games. So, yeah, we're facing that. We're looking right down the barrel of that, and the Raiders got to be ready to win.
Yeah, I'm not so focused on the playoffs. I just want to see this team change.
Yeah.
I've been a fan since like 2005, so it's been rough. I just want to see the change. I want to see the culture change. I want to see that they're not the same old, and I want to see fight, which is what we are seeing so far.
Yeah, we are. Thanks for the call. I want to see the playoffs. I'm sitting here in week 3. I want the Raiders to go to the playoffs. when they are eliminated from the playoffs, whenever that is, and hopefully they're not eliminated, but if they are, that's when we'll talk about next year. It's too early in the season. One of the lucky things I have, and I'm lucky to have, is a national show. Had it at Fox for a decade, and having one now at Sirius XM. I'm here to tell you that there's a bunch of other teams in the NFL that would love to be the Raiders at 1-1. Those teams include the 0-2 Jets, Dolphins, Browns, Texans, Titans, Chiefs, New York Giants, Chicago Bears, New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers. Okay, they're all 0-2. Raiders are 1-1. But you don't get a chance mostly to hear callers from New Orleans. You don't get to hear callers from Nashville talk about their teams. So you can be pretty negative about this if you want to be. And there's plenty of opportunity with Pete Carroll. What's chilling me out a bit, I was telling my son on the ride over today, when I sit down with Pete to interview him, I talk like this at home, like, hey, man, how you doing? What's going on? When I get in the radio, I go, hello, how you doing? Right, I'm on the radio. When I start off my interview with Pete, I'm like, we welcome in Pete Carroll. He looks at me like, what's going on with the yelling, right? He's just like, chill. He's just chill. He just wants to talk. So I'm trying to get that to the level where I'm on the same. He's cerebral. I'm not. He's very cerebral. And he's got this thing all figured out, win or lose. He's got a plan. And I think most people who are Raider fans understand this plan. And the plan will work. It should work. Other guys have tried and it didn't work. Others have tried who really had the track record to change it and it didn't work. Now it's Pete Carroll and John Spytek's chance to do it. 702-365-9200 if you want to get in. Check this out. The Raiders have not beaten Washington since 2005. Ooh, wait a second. Let me read this again from the Raiders. Raiders have not beat Washington since 2005. Pete Carroll is 3-3 all time against the Commanders. Pete Carroll is 25-11 when traveling from the West Coast to the Eastern time zone. That's pretty good. Okay, I didn't know. It's been a while since we beat the Commanders. It was 31 years since we won in Foxborough. 31. And we won that game. All right, when we come back, the great Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports. We are brought to you by Boyd Gaming. 10 properties here in the Valley. Always bet on black, silver, and black. Go check out what Boyd is doing with their tremendous partnership, not only with Raider Nation Radio, but the Raiders. Boyd Gaming, proud partner of our show. All right. See. I'm muted because there are things that I don't want you to hear, like phone numbers of our guests or other things. So if I'm muted, deal with it. Now, if I'm muted because accidentally my mic went out, you can tell me that. But yes, you will be muted from time to time. Bricklayers, right?
For our clients. Who you hire matters. Why would you call anyone else? The Richard Harris Law Firm. This is JT for the Black Hole, home of football's most notorious fans. If you're a diehard Raider fan, this is your home. Become a member today and receive 20% off online purchases. Hotel discounts.
This would be a good time. My buddy sent me a good text on why Jaden Daniels should sit. He said non-conference game, no playoff impact, and early in the season, good time to be cautious and sit Jaden Daniels. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. So Clay, we will take Chip Kelly at 1:00 if he's there.
Okay, good. He's here. Vinny's first question is about Tom Brady being seen on TV with a headset. And what are the implications of him being involved in the playoffs?
Good Vinny, huh?
Yeah. Hard hitting Vinny.
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, JT, Grimaldi's is hands down my favorite pizza in Vegas. Only at Grimaldi's can you get their famous New York style coal-fired brick-oven pizza. Grimaldi's has 4 locations in the Vegas Valley, or check them out online.
Baylor -2, Arizona State.
Yeah, everyone's riding this Baylor. They got some quarterback. Everyone likes Baylor this year.
Oklahoma -6.5 versus Auburn.
That's a cool game because the Auburn QB was always QB last.
No more hassle parking, sitting in traffic, or waiting in long taxi or rideshare lines. Ride like a pro.
Jackson, like the OU quarterback from last season went to Auburn, so it's cool.
Oh, really?
Promo code BRICK. That's mride.com, promo code BRICK.
Gambler's bonus hits again. On August 2nd,
Lee, it's GT the Brick Show calling. Are you ready? Is it a good time?
Yeah.
I'll put you on hold. We'll come back in 35 seconds.
Candace hit big and so can you.
Come back in 30.
Gambler's bonus. It's while you play the game.
Football is here. The Golden Circle Sport Bar inside Treasure Island Hotel and Casino is the best place to watch games on the Strip. There's a huge video wall and over 55 plus screens around the bar. Place your sports bets at the new FTN Sportsbook. The menu with the Golden Circle Burger, the linebacker bison burger, Philly cheesesteak, the Polish sausage, and so much more. It is dynamite. Golden Circle Sportsbook hours amazing. $5 craft beers every day from 10 to 6 8. Treasure Island, the Vegas destination for those seeking a contemporary resort experience with an ideal location on the Las Vegas Strip. And remember, parking is always free.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by the Black Hole. Become a member of football's most notorious fans.
Genty lined up wide left, now in the backfield. He does get the handoff. Right side, he hits through the hole. He's got the first down. Out to the 24, he ran to the right side. It looked like the hole was there if he cut back left, but he does get the first down.
Yeah. Playing it hard today. I like this. We're playing aggressive rock and roll today. I think we need that heading into this game. We need Lee Sterling because he's a pro. Lee Sterling joins us from ParamountSports.com. ParamountSports.com. Look at the site, and he is vetted through me. We've been longtime friends for close to 30 years. Nice week last week, Lee. 2-1. You got LSU and the Eagles winning and covering. That wasn't too easy when you gave us that pick.
No, and I think the public's tired of the tush push. I mean, I think enough's enough by the offseason next year. They got to change the rule. I mean, if you're down the field past the line of scrimmage, I'm fine with it, you know, helping out a runner when he's being tackled by 3, 4, 5 guys. But as a play, I think they ran it 7 or 8 times. Enough. Let's move on. You got to come up with a play when it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1.
All right, well, I really appreciate you picking my son's alma maters this week to get going, both my sons, and we'll start off with Baylor. Slight favor against ASU. You know, ASU crept up on everybody. They were picked to be last the year before in their new conference and ended up winning it and went right down to the wire when it came to the playoff here. Now, they lose Scatterboo and a bunch of good players here, and I know Baylor, everybody's talking about their quarterback. How do you see this one?
So through 3 games, Baylor has made its identity pretty clear. They are going to throw the ball, and they're going to throw it a lot. They're going to throw it quickly, and they're going to make up for that efficiency here with volume. The Bears are number 4 in pass yards, number 2 in plays run. But ASU does well to get to the quarterback. So
To get the outright road win here, the Sun Devils are going to have to lean heavily on that strong running game and do their best to keep, I think, the Bears off the field. Play keep away here. So I'm going to say the wrong team is favored. Sparky straight up 34-30.
34-30 ASU with the upset in this game. Next game is Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is a 6.5-point favorite against Auburn. And I said this when they beat Michigan and then they go play a game in conference, even the non-elite teams, the top of the SEC, which would be Georgia, right? You look at the teams that are at the top. And then if Auburn is having a down year or not, they're still Auburn. They're still a perennial dominant program around this country here. So no time off for Oklahoma, a team that's getting good quarterback play and has nice momentum with their early victories on a tough schedule.
They do, and I think the advantage they have here is you get your head coach, Brent Venables, who calls the defensive plays. He gets to match up against his old quarterback. So most head coaches, they know their quarterbacks. They know what they're all about, what they do best. Do they have problems, let's say, recognizing certain types of coverage. So I think he's going to come up with a game plan that's going to make it tough here on Jackson Arnold. Also, when I watched their game against Baylor, and you got to give Auburn credit, most of their biggest plays were off broken plays and a bunch of them scrambling. So I don't think they're going to be able to catch Oklahoma napping. Baylor had no idea what Auburn was going to throw at them here. And if you don't think that John Mateer is the front runner right now to win the Heisman, and maybe Carson Beck is next, maybe Marcel Reed third for Texas A&M, pop in a tape of Washington State last year. Watch him against Washington. Not much talent around him. He willed his team to win. Without him this year, Washington State last week was down 42-0 at half to North Texas. I don't know what kind of pro he's going to be, but as a college quarterback, I think right now he's the best there is in the land here. I'm taking Oklahoma at home here, minus the 6 points, 34-24.
Wow, that's a big one. Hey, before we get to your game of the week, you've been doing this so long. You've done it before NIL. You've been doing this so long. They used to give cash envelopes under the table for no-show jobs at car washes. And now you're seeing all the money that's real in the NIL, and players are leaving from team to team. Has that helped you, or has it been tougher as a handicapper keeping up with all the NIL players, and especially these quarterbacks as they land with new play callers?
It's made it much tougher, JT.
Okay.
I mean, you've got some teams, you've got probably 12 to 15 teams that have 14 or more transfer kids that are starting. So it's taken me probably at least 2 to 3 games to catch up and to really figure out what teams are doing. Whereas it used to be, I used to travel with my father. We used to go to 12 to 15 different spring games, and we used to get, the MO of what teams were doing, and it wasn't reported anywhere. And pretty much except for a new quarterback coming in or a new coordinator, that's all you had to worry about. Now, brand new ball game.
Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. You should all bookmark it. You need help betting. Most of the people I talk to who gamble lose money. You need someone like Lee Sterling who's a pro, and he'll give you a great deal tied to our show. Finally, your game of the week's interesting to me because the 49ers have a lot of injuries, and they're a work in progress, and we'll wait for the report on Brock Purdy. But if they end up going 3-0 with their easy schedule, and then they get everybody back healthy at the end of the year, they're going to win their division. They're going to have a home playoff game, and they're going to be a couple of games away from the Super Bowl. And I talked to a lot of people. I called the game preseason of the Arizona Cardinals and the Raiders. Everybody's buzzing about this Arizona team being sneaky good. This is your game of the week. How do we get it?
Just call 800-400-9741. We'll give you the game for free. 800-400-9741. We'll hand you San Francisco and Arizona. Huge game here for divisional standings, playoff, maybe position. So first 5 callers, 800-400-9741. How about this week? Most popular promotion we have all year. It's called the Baker's Dozen. If you've never been with me before, this is your time. 13 games, combined college and pro. And why do people love it so much? It's just $97. And we've had some 12-1, 11-2, or 10-3 finishes on this Baker's Dozen. So how do you get it? Just one place, ParamountSports.com. Or call 800-400-9741.
800-400-9741. Lee is there. He'll talk you through it. We'll talk to you next week, my friend. Have a good one.
Okay. Thanks, JT.
Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports. I know he comes on with Q tomorrow because we've been talking to Lee for 20 years. So he's transparent. He puts up his losses and wins, which most of the people in this town don't do. Remember, a board op who worked the weekend shift, who's now hosting on a gambling network on the weekends, doesn't have money to bet. So when he tells you he's betting every game, he's not, because then he wouldn't have his shift and he wouldn't be working on Saturday. If he was betting every game, he'd be rich. He wouldn't be having to work on the radio like I do. I work on the radio. He'd be sitting in a sports book just counting their victories, looking at all their victories on the board. We're smart enough to tell you this. Last night, I watched part 1 of the Charlie Sheen documentary. Oh, my God. Oh, I can't wait to get home and watch part 2. Clay, have you seen this yet?
I don't know. Is that on the Spice Channel or?
No,
is that
it's on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
It's on Netflix. It's a 2-part documentary on the life of Charlie Sheen, who grew up in Malibu, and his neighbors, the guys he grew up riding bikes with and going on the beach and playing with, were Sean Penn, Chris Penn, Rob Lowe. I mean, his brother Emilio Estevez, and they were all friends. And then they got into acting, all in different ways, mostly because Martin Sheen was a great actor and he was the father. But then the excessive partying, the traveling, the private jets, and then Charlie Sheen went off the rails. But he went off the rails long before he had the tiger blood and the winning and he was
surrounded by that lifestyle.
Yeah, part 1, which blew me away, was a lot about a Vegas guy, Nicolas Cage, who we see all the time here in Vegas.
And it's funny to think how Charlie was on the set of Apocalypse Now, which Francis Ford Coppola directed, and he was a young man surrounded by the entire lifestyle with the drugs and the atmosphere at a young age with his dad, Martin Sheen.
And my all-time, I'm a big movie guy, my all-time number 1 movie, I'll say this in front of my son, not my number 1 movie, was it Deer Hunter? Close. Was it Raging Bull? Very close. That's number 2. My favorite movie of all time that had the biggest impact on me, Platoon, which starred Charlie Sheen as the main character. All right, when we come back, we're going to take Chip Kelly's press conference. Chip speaking. I want to hear what he has to say because this is a big moment for Chip and Gino. So we'll carry that. If you already heard it, come here, you hear it again. Our audience here hasn't heard it. Kevin Bolinger will join us from Fox 5 at about 1:15. And we'll talk to Kevin, who was at that press conference. So we got a busy hour coming up, brought to you by the DeCastro Verde Law Group. If you get into an accident, the brothers win, brotherswin.com. Put up that screen thing. Be right back, everybody. We got 400 people here. Stay. We'll keep the stream going for one more second. We are back. We're going to do Chip Kelly here, the host. It is clicked. There you go. We good? And then Kevin at 1:15. Correct.
Wake up with the Morning Tailgate with Clay Baker. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on Raider Nation Radio 920 AM, KRLD Las Vegas.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
It's the JT the Brick Show.
More than my expectations, we're going to win a bunch. And I don't care who hears that. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. He's legendary. His track record speaks for itself. He competes every single day, and that's what I love about him.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Am I willing to play harder, longer than the guy lining up across from me, the team lining up across from me? And if you're not, then I want to be the space that's where the Raiders live in.
I expect excellence every day.
And now here's JT the Brick.
JT back with you. It is Modelo. I had an ice cold Modelo last night. Modelo. Proud partner of our show. We are preparing for the Commanders. Joe Theismann joined me. That was pretty big. Told us about Jaden Daniels. We do not know if Jaden Daniels will play. Tomorrow will be the key. I would expect Jaden Daniels to play. That means tomorrow at Commanders practice, they'd have to ramp him up. The Raiders will practice tomorrow and then fly out. They'll fly out Friday to get to the nation's capital. And then Eric Allen and I will host the pregame show at 8 in the morning on Saturday. That means no JT out on Friday night. You know, I like to go out on the weekends. No, not on Friday night. All right, so Chip Kelly just met the media at the Intermountain Health Performance Center. Let's hear what the OC had to say.
There was talk on the broadcast on ESPN about Tom Brady's involvement and talking, with you during the course of the week. Was that within the proper context, do you feel, or anything taken out of context with that in terms of his involvement?
Well, I don't know what's said on the broadcast because we don't watch the games. But Tom's involvement with me is I spent a lot of time just talking football with him, but it's not on we don't talk about game plans we spent a lot of time over the summer, a couple Zooms. You know, he was traveling all over the place. I was away, and we would just talk ball. You know, what did you like against this? So really, when I use Tom, and I just use him as a resource of, hey, when you faced a Mike Zimmer type defense, what did you like protection wise and play wise? But on a weekly basis, he's not game planning with us or talking to us. I know the week of the Patriots game, I actually heard from him in the morning of the game. He sent me a text saying good luck in his opener. Touch base after the game. That was it. And then, I knew he was coming into this game. He sat in the box when we played San Francisco, I think, in the preseason game, but he doesn't talk to the coaches when he's up there. I think he's watching football. But in terms of weekly game plans, that's not a collaboration that we do. He's also a busy guy, so I haven't even thought of using him to do that, and I don't even think you can. So, our staff does all that, but he's been a guy that I can talk football with, just shooting it about, hey, have you ever faced a two-trap defense and with the inverted Tampa 2 that everybody's running out? If you ever see, what was your best thoughts about that? Things like that. But we don't talk game plan at all or any of that stuff in terms of on a weekly basis.
When you look at the film, just from a run blocking standpoint, what do you think you guys can clean up on?
Yeah, every play has its own individual entity to it. So on this play, all 5 guys blocked it right. Ashton hits it. The second play of the game, they blitzed off the front side edge, and we blocked it up perfect. Ashton got to 12-yard gain, ran through the safety. Unblocked player was the safety and ran through him and made a play. So I think you have to look at the individual plays. Sometimes it's a one-person breakdown. Did they step with the right foot? Did they get their hand placement in the right spot? It's a combination of all of those things when you take a look at it. But I think in the game from a run standpoint, I think what people have to realize is we were down 17-6 at half. Our first drive of the second half was a 20-play drive, and we came away with 3 because we had a penalty in the red zone. But then after that, we were in 2-minute mode, so we didn't run the ball as much as we did the week before. The week before, we were up, so we ran the ball more. So usually when you're up in the second half, you're running the ball more because you're running clock. If you're down, you're throwing the ball more. So when you look at, the run pass breakdowns by game, it's really what is the situation that presents itself. And we also had, I think, 8 passes right at the end of the first half because we had actually 2 2-minute drives in that portion of it too. So that sometimes can skew the numbers because you're not running the ball in 2-minute situations. And I think after that drive, when we got the ball back, there was 8 and change to go, and it was a 20-9 game. So it was 11 point score, and it was a 2-score game. So we kind of went back to 2-minute mode at that point in time. So you're going to throw the ball a little bit more in those situations.
In regarding to Geno, he's someone who has the utmost confidence in himself that he can make any throw on the field.
Mm-hmm.
What are those conversations like where like you kind of have to tell him like, hey, you can't keep forcing the ball into like double coverage or triple coverage as much as he did on Monday night?
Yeah, I think, the one to Jacoby, I think it was an accuracy on the back shoulder. It was the right throw in that coverage. The defender had his back turned, but I think he probably wanted to locate that better. The other one, he was scrambling out of the pocket, and I think he was just trying to throw it up. You kind of hope sometimes in those situations there's a bunch of people down there, but you're going to get a PI. We're in a 2-minute situation, so I don't think he was forcing the ball into coverage or anything from that standpoint. So.
In that, I think it was a 2-minute drill.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously flashed. Is he starting to? Is that role?
He is. And I think there's a role for all of those guys, and I think you have to look that it's not just a 1-game season; it's a 17-game season. So, your ability to keep everybody fresh. You're thinking short term because you're playing games, but you're also thinking long term. You have 3 running backs up on game day, and so you got to be able to kind of distribute that. I think we felt as a staff, Ashton played 54 snaps the week before, and that was a little heavy. So how do we use that? And Dylan's done a great job. Dylan's great in protection. Dylan does a great job as a receiver coming out of the backfield. So he handled the 2-minute for us, and then Zeus handled some of the third down stuff for us.
Oh, all right. That is hello. That is an ad that runs during YouTube. Okay, we'll move on from that. I think we got a lot of chip there overall. Vinny asked him the question about Tom Brady, and that was an important question. Chip gave his answer, and then talking about Geno and what's going to happen with Geno Smith going forward. Welcome back, everybody. JT, as we continue on. If you want to get through, 702-365-9200. We are completely into the game plan now on how to beat the Commanders. Completely into the game plan on how to beat the Commanders. So if there's something you see and want to let us know on how to beat this, it's kind of a little complex. We don't know who's going to be the quarterback. Is it going to be the quarterback Marcus Mariota, or is it going to be Jaden Daniels? I would much rather see Marcus Mariota. But over the last couple of years, we lost to Baker Mayfield, who had the playbook for 12 minutes in L.A. We lost to Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, as Bryce Young got benched. We lost to Tyson Bagent. Who got Josh McDaniels fired in Chicago. I was on that trip, my wife. Tyson Bagent ate us up. If we play Marcus Mariota, we have to beat him. Period. Have to beat him. Don't tell me we have to keep it close. No. If Marcus Mariota is playing against Geno Smith and Max Crosby, we got to win this game. If it's Jaden Daniels and the schedule came out and I looked at it and you said win, loss, whatever it was, most people saw this game as a game that could be, a problem. This game could be a problem if Jaden Daniels is playing. The one thing I think we can guess is going to be true is that if Jaden Daniels plays, he'll be limited. Probably be limited in the running game, which will make him more of a pocket passer. They have Terry McLaurin, who's a very good player, but he held out. He held out the whole offseason, so he wasn't ready to play. He's probably just coming into his own. Austin Eckler, who's a very good dual-purpose back. We've seen him. He blew out his Achilles. He's gone for the year. They traded their number 1 back already to San Francisco. And so they don't have the personnel, Washington, other than Jaden Daniels, that should make you turn around and go, oh, no, I don't know about this game. I was way more concerned about the Chargers than I am the Commanders because Justin Herbert was completely healthy, and on a couple of drives, he tore us up. If Jaden Daniels isn't 100% healthy, will he have the ability to go out there and sit in the pocket? And I was on this show today in D.C. on 106.7, and they think what's going to happen is if Jaden plays, the ball's going to come out quick. So what happens when the ball comes out quick? You put your hands up because you can't get to him. So if Jaden does decide to play and doesn't run, I think what he's going to do is they're going to set up the offense where Cliff Kingsbury is going to get the ball out quickly. You're going to see a lot of Debo slants, a lot of passes, a lot of things going. So here is Gino on the Commanders because, look, Gino played the Commanders in the NFC when he played for Seattle and how familiar he is with the concepts.
Man, tough defense, really tough up front. They got some really good guys up front, a lot of first rounders in that front seven, man, and Hall of Famer and Bobby Wagner, a guy who I've faced a number of years in practice and in games. So I know what he's going to bring. I think Frankie is a tremendous player. He's great in the blitz. He's a leader. He does all the right things. Marshawn Lattimore, we know what he's capable of, all-pro corner, a man corner, lockdown corner. And then, I really like Mike Sanders. I don't want to say his name wrong, but Mike, he does a lot of great things, has great ball skills, is an active player, plays nickel, plays on the outside, does a lot of great things, really active veteran safeties, another tough defense, another tough opponent. And, what more could we ask for? We're looking forward to it.
He is great. He played bad in the last game. Gino is absolutely great at the podium. I don't say that often. He is great. He goes up there. He's all business. He owns it when he doesn't play bad. We've already seen him own it because he didn't play well, and now he wants to get to this game. Pete Carroll on Washington. There's a lot of connections there, especially with the head coach and the linebacker.
We always talk that way. We always talk that way by taking what the defense gives you. But we also design plays to give him chances for his shots, which he knows when the call comes in. It's when things get off rhythm sometimes, that's when the quarterback really has to decide what's going on and always protect the football first. So we need to do a better job than that. And Gino knows that, and I know that, and we didn't get that done.
So they're going to try to fix that, and that's what they're going to do. So what concerns me about the game plan here, and it's a concern, is that they take away from Gino. That they get spooked. Oh, my God, Gino didn't play well. Let's not give him everything. I don't think that's going to happen, but I have to bring it up. Because what you want to see here is you want to see some easy plays, some very easy plays to Gino. That would be what? Brock Bowers. An easy play, in my opinion, is Brock Bowers lining up in the slot, and Brock runs a 8-9 yard in or out route, where Brock just finds an opening in a window and sits down, and Gino hits him for a short gain. Will they do that to open up the offense a little bit more? Yeah, I think they need to. But I'm going to spend the rest of this show and tomorrow talking about how they got to get Ashton Jeanty going. Ashton Jeanty is the most electric young running back in the sport. He's already got a touchdown on the road, and he didn't fumble. The guys asked me on DC radio today, is everybody concerned that Ashton's off to a slow start? I said, no, Ashton scored a touchdown in his first game and didn't fumble in the rain. That was an excellent performance. And I talked about the fact that the offensive line hasn't opened up holes for him yet. If the offensive line doesn't do a better job, it's going to be tough. And Pete Carroll talked about the situation at running back and how to get him going.
It is when it is. And it's particularly preparing yourself for the ends of games, so that when you get to the end of the games and you're in 4-minute situations that you can control the football and seal victories. That's a big part of it. We want to mix throughout. Chip has always been a guy that's run the ball a lot, and me too. And so we're see eye to eye on it. The numbers haven't been as good as we want so far in the first two games. I happen to look at an accounting of the ball carriers throughout the league in the first couple in this past weekend, and there was a lot of guys that ran the ball 11, 12, 13 times as lead runners. It surprised me that there was numbers like that. There were some guys, Colts, the guy ran 22, 23 times or something like that, but there was a lot of guys that aren't running the ball that much, and so I'm kind of surprised at that. I felt like we might be a little more out of line in that, so we'll see. But we want more of him. He ran very well when he had the ball, and so we just needed to get more snaps.
Yeah, got to get him more snaps. The Black Hole is home of football's most notorious fans. The Black Hole Fan Store is now open Friday through Sundays inside the world-famous Golden Nugget Resort Casino on Fremont Street. This isn't just a store. It's the official Black Hole Fan Store. One-of-a-kind apparel and merchandise created by the fans for the fans. And Black Hole members save 20%. So if you go to theblackhole.com, once a member, always a member, that would be good to do. All right. When we come back, Kevin Bolinger will join us from Fox 5. and we'll get that rhythm going with him back on again. He's one of the most connected sports anchors in town. He'll join us next. He was at the Raider facility. And I got a brand new podcast with Rod Woodson, Lay in the Wood. Please subscribe on YouTube. Lay in the Wood with Rod Woodson. I think you're going to love it.
It's the morning tailgate.
Yeah, we'll get. No, seriously, I think they embed it once it's posted.
Yeah. Do you want to come back a little early when I get Kevin?
Yeah, when you get Kevin, I want the spots to run.
Yeah.
So dial Kevin with like a minute left,
Okay.
and we'll do that. Yeah,
So sorry.
no problem. No problemo. All right, you're good after this one. If you want to get Kevin up and down and then just roll. It's raining out. It's raining out in Vegas, which means my pool, my beautiful pool where I perform backyard brick, my pool gets some heat when it rains because I got some trees and they blow and it always happens that my pool gets cleaned. It's kind of like a car wash when you wash your car and then it rains.
Every time I wash the car, it rains.
My son just said Kershaw's retiring. Kershaw should have retired years ago. Years ago, he should have retired, but the Dodgers kept him on the payroll. Verlander wants to keep pitching. Clay, you're a Tiger fan, right? You're a Tiger fan, right?
Tiger fan?
Yeah, you're a Tiger baseball fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see my Yankees get to the Tigers because I think the Yankees have to win. We got to get through.
Scooble, they'll be fine. And any team can get through that, or just pound Scooble, then you put them in a submission mode. Let me come back with Chip on Tom Brady. Or you want to come back with
No, I don't want to talk Tom Brady. I'm done talking Tom Brady. Tom Brady, ownership has its privileges. If you're an owner, you get to do whatever the hell you want in regards to legally, whatever the league says you can do it. I'd say that if Tom Brady was the owner of the Broncos. If you own a team, if you're an owner, you get to put on a headset. There's no problem with that.
Reliable speeds you're looking for. Perfect for seamless streaming, gaming, and working from home. And now get Cox 300 Meg Internet with a 2-year plan, price lock guarantee, plus equipment included. So get your
Kevin, it's Clay over at JT Show. How are
Switch
you?
to Cox Internet today. Taxes and fees excluded from
You
this
have a
guarantee.
good time for a couple minutes? Okay, cool. We'll come back in 1 minute.
Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, full-flavored
All right, we'll get Kevin up here and then we'll be good.
refreshing taste, brewed with fighting spirit since 1925.
We'll come back with JT's first big run on Monday night.
Okay.
Where he cracked that defensive back.
Got it.
Fields of hand batter, cooked order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle cut fries, buttery Texas toast, the MVP of every bite, cane sauce. Don't forget those jugs of freshly brewed tea.
Hey, Clay, I'm gonna do a Canes live read here. Can you flag it? Because Shauna wants those constantly.
Allows you to bet on the go from any iPhone, iPad, or Android device from anywhere in Nevada. Sign up today and you will never miss another bet. With the largest wagering menu, the mobile sports app features same-game parlays, early cash out, and live in-play wagering on all major sports. For more information, official rules, and to see participating sign-up locations, visit williamhill.us. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the Casa Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222 888-866-9999.
Chargers show blitz. Here they come. It's a run to Genty. Gets through the 20. Lowers the shoulder to the 30. And he's spun down to the 35. Derwin James the tackle. But holy cow. He just bulldozed for 13.
Yeah, get those kids out the street because they may get run over. That's what happens. You get Ashton Genty. They run a nice job by Geno Smith. He checked at the line of scrimmage away from the safety. That gave that wide open lane to the outside. And Ashton Genty, being his own blocker, delivering a blow to Alohi Gilman.
Yeah, that was the biggest run of the year other than the touchdown for Ashton Genty. So he had that big moment where he ran over a Charger in the open field for a big gain. Why are we not seeing more of that? Kevin Bolinger, kind enough to join us, sports director for Fox 5. So, Kevin, Patrick Graham, Chip Kelly, the press conferences today, and a lot of the talk is around getting Ashton Genty going. How does that happen?
Well, I think it needs to start up front first with the offensive line and getting maybe a little bit better run blocking. That has not been certainly where it was expected to be at this point. Getting Jackson Paris-Johnson back will be obviously beneficial as well. He was in a red no-contact jersey yesterday. They haven't taken the practice field yet. They are moving the practice indoors because of the weather. Mm-hmm. That's supposed to start about 1:45, so we'll get a better feel for JPJ and if he's in a red jersey again, or maybe if he goes into more of a full practice mode coming off that concussion. That would be a great sign to maybe get Genty some better holes, because they did have some struggles getting some for him, not only in week 2 on the Monday night game, but there were also some struggles in week 1 in New England.
Let me ask you, if they do get this thing figured out with the personnel, that means JPJ's back at guard and everybody's healthy. Do you have confidence that this offensive line is going to flip a switch? Because that's where I think we're at. Either they can run block or they can't. I mean, that's how I look at it. If they're holding something back that I'm not aware of, and then all of a sudden someone's going to get angry and better, and then all of a sudden these lines are going to, these holes are going to blow open. It's got to happen in D.C. this weekend, right?
You would think so. I mean, from the outside looking in, and I'm sure all of Raider Nation would feel the same way. I think that a lot of people thought they were going to maybe address the offensive line a little bit more than they did in the offseason, and they did not. Somewhere in there was a comfort level with the guys that they had, and they essentially are rolling with a lot of the same guys that they had last year. So, there's something that they saw that they think they can get the job done on a consistent basis, and that's the key. There is consistency, and not just have it in spurts or in one game. It has to be week to week, and it's going to have to start against a really good Commanders defense on Sunday.
Kevin Bolinger joins us over at the Raider facility. He's getting ready for practice. So, Kevin, the Jaden Daniels scenario is really interesting to me. We're all waiting on the decision. He won't practice until tomorrow if he does that, but I'm looking big picture here. We had Joe Theismann on earlier in the show, and Joe said in his heyday, if you were able to play, just get out there, you were playing, period. There wasn't, well, we're going to hold you back for next week. But I think the Commanders could do that, not because the Raiders aren't a good team. They are, but it's not a conference game. It's not a divisional game. It's early in the season. And if they're going to make the playoffs, they got to have this kid healthy, and sitting him out an extra week wouldn't hurt.
I could see that kind of being the line of thinking, because it is only week 3, and if he is not full strength, how's he going to get away from Max Crosby? From that standpoint, if he's not full strength, Raiders would love to see him play and maybe see Max tee him up a little bit a few times. But I think it's going to come down to tomorrow's practice, and if he can't go, I just don't see how he's going to do it. Now, Pete Carroll said yesterday they're planning for both, but they think Daniels is going to play. So, there's that gamesmanship obviously going back and forth, and with Carroll and Dan Quinn having such a long history, I'm sure there's a little bit, head games going on there as well. But they obviously are familiar with Marcus Mariota here in this building. Greg Olsen was his quarterback's coach when he was here with the Raiders. So, there's some information sharing going on with the preparation for him. So it's going to be interesting to see when that final injury report comes out tomorrow afternoon, what they list Daniels at. My guess is going to be questionable, because they're going to have to play this guessing game all the way up to an hour and a half before kickoff on Sunday.
Kevin Bolinger, Fox 5, the sports director. So A compliment to the Raider defense would be the Chargers only scored 20, and they only scored 17 because that first field goal, I mean, as soon as I sat down in my seat, literally sat down, boom, it's 3-0, and the Raiders got to stop on that first drive, which was imperative. They should have been on an interception on the first play of the season at home. You're surprised the team doesn't score. And after that, they only scored 17, and Harbaugh went for it on 4th down when he could have punted late in the game. They fumbled and gave it back to the Raiders. I thought the Raider defense played well, and they didn't get a lot of attention because the offense played so poorly, and that's what everybody's been focused on.
No question. I mean, they forced 3 and outs on the first 2 Chargers possessions, and if you're going to get that from your defense, and if your offense, gets an opportunity to play off of that, you're going to win a lot of ball games because more than likely you're going to jump out to some type of a lead if you get that week to week. I thought the defense has played pretty well, and there was, some concern with a higher level quarterback going up against them in week 2. Not to disparage Drake May, but Justin Herbert is a step up in terms of maybe challenging the guys on the back end on the Raiders defense, and I thought that they held up pretty well, throughout that game on Monday night. So that's an encouraging sign moving to the future. If they're only going to be giving up, 20 points a game, then the Raiders offense should be capable of winning them some ball games as well by putting points on the board.
Kevin Bolinger, as we wrap it up. So you're connected with the fans, the channel is, you're embedded with the team at practice. When you see the highs and lows of the Raiders already, right? We dealt with it last year. The team lost 10 in a row. I think we both agree this is a much better team. Pete Carroll's here. Tom Brady's influence. There's a lot that's changed since last season, but the Raiders are right back to where they were last season, where week 3 and 4 was critical to stabilize the team and start winning games. Last year, the Raiders were 2-2. Then they lost 10 in a row. Now the Raiders need to bounce back with a win. I think this is a critical game. They have to be in this game late, hopefully win it, but at least have an opportunity to put it away.
I think there's a big difference between last year to this year, and I think the roster, number one, is a step up to where they were last year. But the culture change, don't underestimate the value of that. And I know it's cliche to say, we got to come in and change the culture. You can see it out there. You've been out of practices all through training camp and OTAs, JT. There's a different culture on this team that I think that they're going to kind of keep that steady, not too high, not too low in terms of wins and losses throughout the year. And I think that's going to lend itself for a team to be able to bounce back after losses like that. It's a tough challenge. It's a short week. It's traveling across the country. It's going up against a very good team. Mm-hmm. But again, another litmus test for this Raiders group to see kind of where they're at.
All right. Finally, what's Fox 5 programming look like leading up to this? There's a whole bunch of new programming that comes out every year. I'm really proud to be on with Eric Allen, Raiders Rundown, all the other shows that we're able to do. What do you have in store? Plus UNLV, who's undefeated here, which is a big storyline going into the weekend.
Yeah, well, we have the Raiders game on Fox 5 this Sunday at 10, so that's good for the viewers. And for those of you in Raider Nation that are outside of Las Vegas, it's going to be on your Fox affiliate on Sunday morning. And we've got our normal Raiders content going through. Things are shifting around. We've got a lot of baseball coverage here as we get close to the postseason, and maybe is shifting some times around. But we also have that Silver State Sports Entertainment Network that has a lot of Raiders content on it as well, 24-hour sports network with a lot of original programming that we do out of our building that has a lot of people giving perspective on the silver and black as we go through the football season.
Thank you so much, Kevin. I'll see you soon. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, JT.
You got it. Kevin Bolinger from Fox 5, one of the best people in town, period. Emmy Award winner, one of the better people in town. Part of our insider group that we have here on that show. Brought to you by Virgin Hotels, Las Vegas. Man, they got a lot of concerts coming up. Common Kings, Friday, September 19th. That's all ages. If you want to go to that. My wife and I think we're going to America. Horse with No Name. A great band, a historic band. They're coming up at Virgin Hotels. I like to go there and sit at the bar with the great Johnny O'Donnell at One Steak. And he puts on a show. He's like a global entertainer, the great J.O.D. The pool Even though it's raining today, you can take the party inside. The pools are great. And then I had the opportunity of being with the president, Cliff Atkinson, who has the box, the Virgin Hotel box at Allegiant Stadium, where they're entertaining many of their partners. It was good to see him. So we got a lot more going. You should be calling in. I got a half hour to go. I don't have a guest. You're the guest. So we get a couple of callers in here. Tell us how we're going to win the game. If you're concerned about something, if you're concerned about anything with this game, let us know. Let us know at 702-365-9200. I don't predict games. I don't, but you can. And we had some predictions last week. Boy, were they doozies. Like we had some people last week talking about the Raiders beating the Chargers in a blowout. And I'm like, no, that's not happening. If we were going to beat the Chargers, it was going to be like 31-28. And the Raiders weren't able to get anything going. So when we were over there today on Raiders Rundown talking about a couple of things, it's really important that the Raiders stabilize their running game. So for the keys to this game, the Raiders have not beaten the Commanders since 2005. The pass rush needs to get after the Commanders' quarterback. No matter who that quarterback is, they got to get home. Jonah Lalulu has, how many? 3 sacks already? That's pretty good. Because they're triple teaming Max. They're double teaming Max. The Raiders need to find the deep ball threat that they had week 1. As the great late Raider Mort used to say, please throw it deep once in the first half. Please throw it deep to let Dan Quinn know that the Raiders might throw it deep. Please just stretch the field, even if you overthrow him. You know, the problem with Geno is he's not overthrowing guys. He's underthrowing guys. I'd like to see Geno really throw the ball deep and hold the Commanders' rookie running back, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, hold him to some small gains. He's averaging 7.1 yards per carry. Are you kidding me? They got a rookie running back. I think he was taken in the 7th round. Krosky-Merritt is averaging 7.1 per carry. So that's pretty interesting to me. We got the best young rookie running back here, and we can't get him 7.1 a carry. And that'll be an early kickoff, 10 a.m. Pacific. Chris Myers, who we had on earlier this week, he's on the call. So that game will be on Fox. And when the game is on Fox, it's interesting. Very interesting. Very impressed with the coverage that we get here in town with the NFL. 702-365-9200 is the number. Clay's running the show today, which I greatly appreciate. I go back with Clay 100 years or close to that. Joey in L.A. on what Genty needs to do against the Commanders. Go ahead, Joey.
What's up, JT? I was just trying to get in earlier. I was actually at the game in Washington in 2005. I didn't know it's been that long.
Yeah, it's been that long.
I want to see Genty just get a little outside, have Big Mike be a lead blocker, just to get him going. Like, I'm not giving up on Genty this fast. It's his second game. You know, he needs more touches. He needs to be consistent. He needs to hit his blocks. I know he was missing them on Monday. But I'm still fired up for Sunday. I don't think it's a lost season already, like some of the fans are already jumping ship. That's all.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's jumping ship. And I'm very, how do I want to say this? I'm very cautious with my words. You got to be a dope if you're jumping ship after 2 games with Ashton Genty. I mean, come on. No one's jumping ship on Ashton Genty. I mean, this is going to be critical going forward. Now, I believe, as you saw that gentleman who just called me, who had a nice phone call, but his energy was very low. And I'm sensing the energy is too low on my show. And I don't want that to affect me because I'm the high energy guy, right? I'm a high energy guy. So we need some more energy. Okay, more energy, more excitement. Get behind your team. I pulled you along with Clay and Vinny and Vince, and especially Q. We pulled you through the summer, and you helped us too. It was called Summertime Radio. When you're an NFL radio station like we are, and there's no NFL, there are days where people are quiet, down. There's nothing to talk about with the Raiders. I'm a big believer when there's nothing to talk about with the Raiders, I don't talk Raiders. I don't have to. I talk about LeBron James. I talk about Ohtani, other things. Now it's all Raiders. It's all silver and black. So we're here to talk about that every day. And then when there's big breaking news, like Clayton Kershaw announced that he'll retire after the season. Kershaw wanted to get to the point. He's an 11-time All-Star. He's a future Hall of Famer. But the Dodgers treated him very well, letting him stick around long. Remember, Justin Verlander is pitching for the Giants, and he had a great career with the Tigers and bounced around a bit. The Dodgers should have let go of Kershaw, but they kept him around because he was such a good teammate, and he was such an important piece to the history of that franchise, and it worked out well for him. So this is it for Clayton Kershaw. For the Dodgers, will the Dodgers give him the ball in the postseason? Probably, but I don't know if it'll be a high leverage situation. Raider Dave out in Denver, what's happening?
Hey, great to hear you and Clay today. The best of both worlds from the beginning to end throughout the day on R&R, man. So thanks for having them in there today. You know, I think that with Kelly and the anticipation of what this design of offense would be, I think there's a lot more to go, obviously. But this week, I think I wanted to see some misdirection, some counters, just some creativity in the run game to try to get Genty going. And whether that's swing passes, I just really didn't like the straightaway, sideways swing passes. Those are just too risky. But some pitches probably work okay. And who knows, maybe even a shovel pass to Meyer or whatever, you know, underneath. I just think that there needs to be some sort of extra fold for creativity in order for that to work. Now, what I did say last week about the Charger game and what I was worried about was zone coverage underneath, and I thought Herbert could pick it apart. Overall, you know, I didn't watch until I watched highlights. I didn't see any of the full first half, but boy, everybody's right. The Raider defense really did play really well. And you know, there's no doubt about it that Herbert's really opening a lot of eyes with he and what that team is doing. So, you know, as far as a premier offense of McDaniels or how the Raiders played a premier offense last week, I really don't care which quarterback ends up playing. I think the Raiders can handle it and hold them underneath 20 points. So, you know, maybe a 24-20 game here or 26-23 or something. I could see that happening. And I really had predicted early on that the Raiders would be 2-1 after 3. I didn't think that the Chargers would get over on them. And obviously there was a lot of anomalies with pressing the ball down the field that didn't go the Raiders' way. But, you know, I think, again, 2-1 could be the key here. Early on, I thought that maybe Washington could get over on the Raiders, but I'm just really impressed with how the coaching staff can rally this team to go east. So that's my prediction anywhere. I think it's a moderate game, and the Raiders win by 3 or 4.
I think that's a great phone call. Thank you. You know, it's interesting. I think the Raiders defense, clearly, the Raiders defense has the ability to hold anybody. But hey, everybody, and Clay, you could help with this too. Enough of this not scoring 20 points crap. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
We have the offense now that's got to get in the 30s, right? Got to get in the 30s.
Raise the standard.
And you know, if it can't be last in rushing, last or second to last. And they're going to struggle with that. But this team with Chip Kelly and Geno was built to get into a shootout. And I just don't want, we already got a game already this year where we had 9 points. We can't have another game where we have 14 or we have 13. We got to score in the 24 to 27 every week. We got a week at a time. We play 1 day a week. We got to put up 24 to 28 points.
If we can't have it where we saw last year where there wasn't a sense of urgency when you were down in the game, like you brought it up, there is a pace and then there's a clock.
Yeah.
You have to keep going. And I felt like there was a lot of laboring going around in the fourth quarter. And they only really had 2 drives. Both teams like sucked up the entire third quarter. But still, the pace has to be stronger.
Yeah, you're right about that. That long drive that ate up most of the quarter where the Raiders only got 3 points. And I agreed at the time to kick the field goal because they were going backwards.
Yeah.
And if they didn't get a field goal there, the game was over. And then there was a fumble after that, but they could have got back in the game. So Raiders need to put themselves in a better situation. Play fast. You have a veteran quarterback. Play fast. T. Raider out in Stockton, California on the mobile app.
What's going on, JT? Great show as
Thank
usual.
you. Appreciate it.
You know, I go back to one thing. The offensive line has to do much better. I don't care who plays where. The defense last year was fine till they hit that little losing skid. I believe they'll be okay this year. I think the defensive backs will get better as they get more experience. I have to see that offensive line do something. Colton Miller is the anchor to that team. He's a veteran there. They've got to open some holes for Gentry. He's not going to be able to run if he's running up the offensive line's ass. They have to break open some holes, and he's got to give him a chance. He'll do it. He's a proven commodity. We're not giving up on him. You don't draft somebody sixth and they give up on him after game 2. That's ignorant. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So he will do what he has to do, but he has to have the opportunity up front. If the guys have luck up front and win the battles in the trenches, you know how it's going to work out. It's not what we want to see. And also, if the offensive line can give Gino a little time so he can look off his checks or make better decisions so he's not pressing the ball, he wants to win too. But he's got to have the opportunity by having time to make good decisions and get in, volume with the new receivers and get them on the same page. I like what I'm seeing. I just think they have to take a breath, put it together, go into Washington, and just take no prisoners.
Thank you. Another good phone call here. I don't know if other shows are talking about it or callers about giving up on Ashton Genty. We have not heard that on my show from noon to 2 Pacific, 3 to 5 Eastern. If anybody on any show that I didn't hear it's talking about giving up, that is remarkable to me. No one's giving up on Ashton Genty. Hey, Rebels, it's tailgate time. Game day's calling. Raising Cane's is bringing the party. Whether you're tailgating outside the stadium or hosting a watch party for the Rebels, Cane's tailgates are the real MVP. We're talking ham, battered, cooked order, chicken fingers, those crispy, crinkle-cut fries. And the Cane sauce, they make it in store every day. So when you think of Cane's, think of Caniacs and the ability to order the box combo. I love the lemonade, but sometimes I love the iced tea. It's that good. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, the official chicken fingers of the UNLV Rebel. Go Rebels. When we come back, we will wrap up the show, hopefully hear from you, and get out of here on a good note. My goal every day is to turn the energy over of this show to Q, because Q's got great energy, right? Listen to his opening drive. It only takes me moments to get home, but I'm in the car. I stay later to listen to the opening drive. And then you can see Q at Silver Sevens. Clay's on the board. We appreciate that. And a lot more to promote coming up. My conversation tomorrow with the head coach of the Raiders, Pete Carroll. Thanks, everybody. That was 143 minutes, 1 hour and 43 minutes, which is really 60 and 40. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed it. Remember, Lay in the Wood podcast with Rod Woodson. And I think I'm going to stream live tonight, live stream with Looney and the JT and Looney podcast. We're going to talk about the 0-2 start for all the teams that are 0-2.